This is Jeremy Wentworth-Stanley. I'm the fellow who has a hyphen in my name. The hyphen is silent, but I am anything but that. Last podcast, Sarah, we did Who Am I? And two things have come out of that. One is, you said to me, we need to talk about the whole business of labeling, which is what I was originally, and in fact, will be focusing on.
Right.
But also, I heard from our producer, who had heard from other listeners, that people want to hear more about who am I? This is a subject which is far deeper than the proverbial 5-minute discussion.
Right.
And so we're going to explore it on an expanded basis this morning.
Okay.
And I should tell everybody that what we have is Jeremy Wentworth-Stanley, the voice of Respectonomics, and co-host Sarah Benton, who I think does a spectacular job of keeping me in check.
Oh, you're so kind.
I don't think it's been kind. I think it's true.
Thank you for the opportunity to join.
Yeah, well, it's wonderful that we can do this. And what I was going to talk about, first of all, is we're going to be talking about Lego.
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 My ego, not Lego.
Lego. Well, Lego, in fact, as I think most people will do, quickly jump to the idea of the little blocks with the little bricky, sticky, whatever you call them, protuberances on them.
Building blocks.
And they stick together. Yeah, different colors and all that kind of stuff. And we, as human beings, are Lego pieces. We all, when we look at this business of who am I think most people start getting trepidatious. They start thinking about, what am I going to discover?
Right.
Well, actually, what you're going to discover is these wonderful Lego pieces that join together. They can take incredibly different shapes and sizes, colors, dynamics, and they're really, really exciting. And each one of us should be able to say, I've got a new Lego set this morning. Now, you love your Latin, don't you? Come on.
So
no
much.
rolling eyes. Just, Jeremy, I love my Latin.
I love my Latin, Jeremy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Lego, although it's actually a Danish expression, it turns out, and they didn't realize this till after they'd got into full production, Lego in Latin means I assemble or I gather.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing here. We're assembling these pieces in who we are. Now, you raised this issue of labeling, and you may think, how do we get from Lego to labeling? And the problem with labeling is most of us label ourselves, and we do it from 2 points of view. First of all, if you go to the average, 45-year-old and say, what academic standing are you? The individual will say, well, I'm a B or a C or an A or whatever they are. Do you realize that those designations were created 30 years before? They are that old, and we hold on to them. So we hold on to a lot of labels that we were given for whatever reason, rightly or wrongly, but we hold on to old labels, number one. Number two, we often have a label because we think it's a label that's going to appeal to other people, which I hate to say is either dissimulative, possibly hypocritical, and possibly an outright fib. So what we want to understand is that the whole principle of labeling ourselves is picking up the Lego pieces and seeing what kinds of shapes we can come up with, what kind of designs. And if you watch a child playing with Lego, have you ever watched children playing with Lego?
Oh, yes.
It's fascinating. They do two things. They forever throw things on the floor. Have you noticed them doing that? They throw everything on the floor and then they start picking up pieces. And the first thing they were going to do was make a dinosaur. How come they come up and say, hey, it's not a dinosaur, it's a kitchen table? And we can do the same thing with ourselves. We are not structured to a specific goal. We are what we have in our kit. And the problem with the labeling that you talk about is when I label myself according to the stereotype of what's expected of me, here's a really frightening discovery. Supposing you go to your pantry and you get out a can of Campbell's chicken soup,
Right.
which I imagine you've done once in your life.
Possibly, yes.
Yeah. So you pick up the can, and it's got a label on it. It's got the red and white label with chicken soup written all over it. And when you open it up, you find, in fact, instead of soup being in there, it's got beans.
Mm.
Two things happen. Three, actually. First is you're ticked off.
Mm-hmm. It's
How
not
did
what
that?
you expected.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second thing is it's incongruous with what you are planning to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to have chicken soup and you've got beans in front of you, you ain't got what you wanted. And here's the really more frightening part about it. You look at the contents of this can that you thought was something else. You look at this contents, and what do you do with it? You throw it out.
Mm.
So the risk is when we take off our labels and the true Jeremy steps forward, if in fact that true Jeremy is different from what people perceived, there's a significant risk of disappointment and in the ultimate being basically thrown to the wolves. So being true to yourself is an incredibly important dynamic. It's the one that reinforces your identity. It's the one that builds up your sense of self-worth. It's the one that allows your dignity to flourish. Knowing yourself is a very, very valuable tool.
Mm-hmm.
We can do it in a number of ways. We can go to the therapist and say, help me to see who I am. We can actually start writing. Writing is an incredibly powerful tool, and we have found that the mind will reveal what the soul didn't see.
And what's interesting is I find if you ask somebody, who am I? Like, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
When we're talking about labels,
Yeah.
typically one of the top responses or answers are what they do for employment. That's
Yeah.
not who you are.
It's
That's
not. Exactly. It's label, label, label. As a matter of fact, it goes back to a very ancient principle, actually, and that is when you had a name, when a baby was given its name, that name was incredibly important. It described the nature of that individual spirit. The name actually had a meaning to it. It wasn't just, you ready? Mellifluous. Have you ever heard that word, mellifluous? It
I
sounds sweet. All right. It's actually from the. Okay, I won't go into Latin and Greek this morning. Promise you. But no, seriously, the names were very, very important. In fact, they were so important that in the ancient times, you wouldn't necessarily give your name out. It was that private.
Mm,
And
interesting.
in a way, because that was the container of your identity,
Right.
one word. So you're absolutely right. When you say to people, sort of, what am I like? You get identified by this stereotypical, you're an employee of, or live in such and such a community. And you need to almost to rip off those labels. I think you'll agree, put on some X-ray glasses and actually look into that person as a real person. And one of the things I have found is if I want to look at you carefully, and I mean carefully in the proper sense of the word, careful, if I want to do that, one of the most powerful techniques I have is allowing my inner spirit to engage with your inner spirit. It's one of the most incredible dynamics of our humanity that we have this, and frankly, this incredible, almost explosive capability to interact with one another. No words, no writings, no photographs, nothing. All I do is allow my inner being, my soul, my spirit to interact with yours.
Mm.
I will it, I do it, and we have a connection.
Right.
It's absolutely beautiful. So when we look at this whole question of who am I, we've got the Lego pieces, we've got the identity that we can restate, reinforce. We've understood, I believe, that we should discard the labels and be true to ourselves. The ancient writings are full of be true to thyself.
Right.
Shakespeare said it, Socrates said it, and everybody go back again into ancient times, you get this idea of knowing yourself or examining yourself is considered a very healthy tool.
Right.
But lastly, Sarah, I would like to go back to the Lego parable, because if we agree that I can use these Lego pieces for different colors, different constructions, different apparatus, all those differences, I think we've all agreed on that. But do you remember with your children, when they were putting together their Lego pieces, they would suddenly say, I'm out of yellow pieces, I'm out of this size of whatever, whatever. And we have a human capacity that never, never runs out of Lego pieces. The potential is phenomenal. It's endless, it's infinite, and it derives from the body and the mind and the soul. We have these Lego pieces. We can go on and on building forever, which has one more message to it. And that is that as we get older, we can build more Lego than we've ever built before. That's an exciting prospect.
I like that analogy. And on
May
that
I?
note, Jeremy,
Okay, here we go. Very slowly and very carefully, I rest my case.
thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Sarah.